Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So here's a new deck profile for you guys today. Well, not necessarily new because I've actually done Red-Eyes before, but I figured I'd just show you guys the newly updated version of it, especially now that I got Red-Eyes Dark Dragoon, as y'all guys can clearly see. And for those who already saw my post that I pulled this actually on my third tin together with the Prismatic Secret IP Masquerade. So I was so happy when I pulled this. But anyway, I figured I'd just show you guys what I have this time around, and of course I'll have a combo video for you guys too. And I'm not gonna lie, this deck can actually do some pretty crazy things now, especially with Dark Dragoon as a thing. And yeah, it's just like, there's so many good combos. I had to tech in some different cards in there just to make it more consistent and try to make this deck as competitively viable as I possibly can. So anyway, let's go and get started. All right, so the main deck's still 40 cards, of course. I'm gonna start with 2 copies of Red-Eyes Black Dragon. I was running 3 originally, but I decided to bump it down to 2 to make room for the Dark Magician, which comes to our next card, Dark Magician. So this is basically important just because the fact that you needed to make the Dragoon of Red-Eyes. And plus with Red-Eyes Fusion, you send both of these, you can get 2 pops in a turn with Red-Eyes Dark Dragoon, but we'll get more on that later. But anyway, that's just the start right there. Next, 3 Black Metal Dragon. Amazing card. It's an equipped card, and also the fact that every time you send from field to the grave, you get to add a Red-Eyes card to your hand, and it's not once per turn, so this card gets pretty nuts once you actually, once you kind of abuse it a bit, you know? 2 copies of Black Sun of Legend. So this is pretty standard for a Red-Eyes deck. You tribute this card to special summon a level 7 or lower Red-Eyes from your deck. Also, you can recycle your Red-Eyes cards and add itself back to your hand, but you can only use one of the effects once per turn and only once that turn. Next one, Darkness Metal Dragon. Wishes had a better rarity rather than common, but the alternate art does look cool. It does have any routes, so just bear this in mind. Does the exact same thing like the original. The only difference now is that it's a hard once per turn. So Darkness Metal Dragon's revival effect can't be abused anymore. I decided to add in Malefic Red-Eyes Black Dragon. This seemed to be the correct choice considering that you are going to be running Dragon's Ravine and your Romulus just so you can, get it out for free. It's basically a free rank level 7 extender so you can get into some rank 7 play. So Malefic Red-Eyes Black Dragon is actually not a bad choice whatsoever. I'm still running the 1 alternative Black Dragon. I was running 2 originally, but I cut it down to 1 because it's really just there to sort of fix the hand. Like if you bricked with one of your one of the Red-Eyes that you don't need, just tribute it off, special summon this card, and then you can actually go from there. 1 Black Flare Dragon, it's basically a normal monster, even though it does say effect. All Gemini monsters have to be normal summon to turn into effect monsters. So you could actually send this with Dragon Shrine and then dump another dragon if you wanted to. So yeah, Black Flare Dragon, pretty good. And his effect is really cool too, so not too bad. And 1 Gear Freed, of course, because, you do definitely still need a warrior monster to make Red-Eyes Slash Dragon. So that's the only reason I'm running it. But he's also pretty good for revival. You equip him the Black Metal Dragon, send it off with Gear Freed. You get to special and get a search. So yeah, it gets pretty nuts if you do it that way. All right, so that's it for the Red-Eyes engine. Now moving on. I'm actually running only 2 copies of Fushida. I was thinking of running 3, but 3 didn't really seem to work as well as I thought. Yeah, it's a free level 7, but the thing is sometimes it can conflict with your strategy, especially the fact that he's a worm monster, not a dragon monster. It just felt like this was the better choice because like I could at least, link him off for like a generic link 2 and just go from there. So again, this may not be correct. Maybe 3 is correct for all I know, but so far 2 seems to be working just fine for me, and that's the only reason why I'm running it at 2. So yeah, and of course 2 copies of Noctivision Dragon. Someone brought this up to my attention on the comments last time I did a Red-Eyes deck, and this card is actually pretty good too. So whenever a Dark Dragon or Dragons is special summon, you can special summon this card from your hand. And also, if this card is sent to the graveyard as a link material, you get to draw 1 card. Hard once per turn on both effects, but pretty good. And also has a pretty cool negation effect too. So when your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a face-down card you control, you can banish this card from your graveyard as cost, negate the effect. Also, your opponent cannot target that face-down card with effects for the rest of the turn. So that's actually pretty good. So that means like, if that means your opponent can't try again, basically. So Noctivision Dragon from Eternity Code, definitely something that was easily overlooked because, I don't usually pay attention to commons until, again, someone pointed it out. So, and he's also a level 7 too, so you could also use it for rank 7 place. But yeah, Noctivision Dragon, pretty good. I really like what this card offers to the table. All right, I'm actually running the Darkworm engine, 2 Darkworm, of course, to run the Gate 0. So people wonder, what the heck is this for? It's just to help you get into your Guard Dragon plays, and also essentially just help you get into Romulus faster. But and the whole reason you run the Gate 0 is just as discard fodder, nothing else. You can discard it for Dragon Ravine, or if you wanted to, you could save that gate 0 for your Dragoon. That way you can discard to negate. So yeah, that's the only reason you run it, and almost nothing else. And again, Dark Worm, the fact that if you control no monsters, you can special summon from your grave for free. Yeah, I don't see why not, right? Next one, Tempest, and of course, Neo Kaiser Glider. Neo Kaiser Glider is mainly just for me to go into Meteor Black Comet Dragon. So yeah, it's a level 6 monster. And plus, it also weakens your opponent's monsters too, so why not? All right, moving on to spells already. 3 Red-Eyes Insight. This just to search out all your Red-Eyes spell cards, spell or trap cards. 3 Red-Eyes Fusion, since I do have 3 different targets for Red-Eyes Fusion. And even if you hard drew this without the, and if you know you can't go into Verite Anaconda, it's not a bad thing, because as long as you can get it to that Dragoon, you're pretty much set to go. So yeah, Red-Eyes Fusion, it's still pretty busted. Just to make sure my combos go off and make sure my Red-Eyes Fusion doesn't get negated, 3 Called by the Grave, because, you know, Ash Blossom would stop Red-Eyes Fusion. 2 Dragon Shrine, and of course the 1 Dragon Ravine, and that's generally it for our spells. Alright, so that's it for that. For hand traps, actually, I forgot to mention, I'm actually only running 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence, simply because, you know, I just want to make sure I have enough disruption pieces, and plus Impermanence can't be called by the grave with, so I figured, you know what, this is actually pretty good. So yeah, Infinite Impermanence seemed to be the right choice. Next up, Red-Eyes Fang with Train, also good for disruption. For Revival, Return of the Red-Eyes, this also brings back Dark Magician because it brings back normal monsters. And lastly, 1 Red-Eyes Spirit, which also brings back the Dragoon. So if your opponent somehow gets around that Red-Eyes Dark Dragoon, you could just play Red-Eyes Spirit, bring her right back. So that way, it never stays gone forever. Alright, moving on to the extra deck already. For the fusions, I'm only running 3 of them. Of course, Red-Eyes Dark Dragoon. So this card cannot be destroyed by card effects, and it cannot be targeted by card effects. During your main phase, you can destroy 1 monster your opponent controls, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack points. And you can use this effect up to the same number of times as the normal monsters you use. So in general, if you use both Red-Eyes and Dark Magician, you essentially get to pop 2 monsters. And also, when you do that, this card just like burns your opponent for damage. So it's basically Ring of Destruction. Now for the negation, once per turn. Now this is a soft once per turn, but again, I think Dark Dragoon might actually get limited on the next ban list right away because everyone already knows how crazy this card is. But anyway, once per turn, you can discard a card, negate the activation of a card effect. So it's basically an Omni-negate. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. And also this card gains 1,000 attack points. So, and it's permanent too, so that's really nice. So this card can get pretty big. All right, so moving on, 1 Red-Eye Slash Dragon. Gets stronger for every equipped card it gets. Also, well, every equipped warrior monster it gets. Also, this card has a negation too, but it only stops targeting effects. So like anything that targets, this card can negate it by detaching an equipped card, and yeah, it's not once per turn either, so Red-Eye Slash Dragon is pretty good. 1 Meteor Black Comet Dragon. So for those who are not familiar with this card, so this card is Fusion Summon. You can send a Red-Eyes monster from your hand or your deck to the graveyard, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half the original attack points of that monster. And if this card is sent from the monster zone to the graveyard, you can target 1 normal monster in your graveyard, special summon it. So Meteor Black Comet Dragon, not too bad. It definitely needs a reprint though, I'm not gonna lie. This thing is pretty pricey. 1 Verite Anaconda, so we're moving on to links already. This is basically what you use to get Red-Eyes Fusion out, because Red-Eyes Fusion does have its restrictions, so, but there is a way to bypass that. Hieratic Seal, figured why not. Romulus, this gets you access to your Ravine. 1 guard during the LP. I'm still trying to get my hands on a Prismatic Secret, but I did get one for Pisty. Triple Burst Dragon, also has a negation too, so it's pretty nice. Link Rebo, 1 IP Masquerena. Again, I really love the Prismatic Secret. This thing looks sick. You're still going to be running Darkness Metal because, especially the fact that you played the Malefic, this card brings back the Banished Red-Eyes, but keep in mind, it's restrictions that if you cannot link someone for the rest of the turn. So make sure you bring this out and don't use this effect right away. Get Predaplant Verite Anaconda out first, and then you can use the effect. So yeah, just for OTK purposes, Boral Sword Dragon. Sometimes I use IP just to get into it if I have enough monsters to use it. So yeah, figured why not. And then for our rank 7s, just 2 copies of the Flare Metal Dragon, and just the fact that it revives and burns your opponent. So yeah, it's pretty good. All right, So that's it for the extra deck. Moving on to the side deck. Side, Nibiru. It's just for going second mainly. Phantasme also, it's a level 7 also, I just realized that. Dark Ruler No More. Twin Twisters, just to mess with my opponent, and kind of a joke too, Raigeki, only because I don't own Lightning Storm, so yeah, Raigeki, nobody ever sees it coming half the time, so yeah. Two evenly matched, and of course the one red reboot. So just basic side deck stuff, you know. Why is red reboot still at 1? I don't know. I wish that card was back at 3 already, but it is what it is. Well, hopefully you guys enjoy this, and I will catch you guys again next time.